In the last video, we built our card from scratch, from end to end, pixel perfect, using this design system in Figma. Okay, the next step is to make it responsive and to make sure it's working in the mobile view as well. So now let's go and focus on our mobile view. And the way we can do that is we use something called media queries in CSS, and we'll go through a simple example for today. And the way you start is you do add media, okay? And here my Visual Studio Code is helping me because I'm not use those. So media, I will say, for example, only on screen, okay? So any screen, any window screen with a condition and max width, okay, width. And if you give the max width, let's say for example, I want this new design of mobile to work, for example, from tablet view and so on, okay? So I'll say for max width of, for example, I don't know, let's say 800 pixels for now, okay? So whatever new designs I do here, they will work in smaller windows until 800 pixels. But from 801, then the desktop or whatever design we did before, it will show, okay? Now let's start with small thing, and let's start with, for example, the card itself. We said we start from the top level, right? Currently we have this card, full width is 600 pixels, okay? But of course in smaller windows it will not fit, and I'll show you. I open my actual product in the browser, inspect, and then you have this little icon right here, okay? Let me move this first down so I have space. Then I'll click this little icon, and this little icon can help me to simulate other devices. I can, for example, do iPhone 12 Pro, okay? And what I will do, I will say turn it, and this I will say, for example, I want this to be 100% fitting, okay? So there is something we need to add here on the top header when we are doing responsive, and that's for media queries, okay? And it's for viewport media query. So I will add it right here in the beginning, okay? So we are saying for the viewports, I want the contents and devices to be scaled to 1, okay? And that you have to add. I save this and I will save that to here. So currently this one is just touching my window, and you can see this image here is scattered on the left because this one will not fit, and the way I know it, the corner here is not circled like this, okay? That means outside of my viewport. Now that's the first thing. So I want first my card to be not anymore 600 pixels, but let's say the width, if we put 100%, it will be like this, okay? So 100%, and you see my card is 100% now, okay? But the image is squeezed off because we have to fix that as well. But of course, you never want your element to be touching the side, so I'll keep it 90%, for example. Oops, click 90%. And click save, and you can see now it is just 90% of my window and skipping some side corners here empty, okay? Now next thing, if you look at our design in the mobile, we don't want these ones to be next to each other, we want to be on top of each other, okay? And because we used flex before on the card element, now we can keep the flex, but the direction would change. Before it was a row by default, now the flex direction will be column, okay? I click save, and let's go back to our browser. You can see now they're on top of each other, okay? Good. So this is the first layer of the card is done, okay? Now next one is going to our images, not images, sorry, to the main children, okay? Which is the next level. So we have our card and we have these children, the direct children. One hold the image, one hold the content. So before we said it's 50%, right? When we went before here, we said you take a 50%. We don't want that anymore. We want them to be auto and to be mostly 100%. Okay, we go back down and I'll say flex auto. Okay, I don't want it to be 50% anymore. Okay, click save, and there we go. Now next thing is the image itself. Okay, so the image itself, I want it to have less height because of my design. So if I come here and double click until I figure out the height of it, so the Figma, this one is not really properly done, so I can't select only this, but I'll give an assumption of, for example, 240 pixels. Okay, and the way we will do that, again, we come here, see what class name we used before for that image. See, card image space image, so we'll use the same selectors, and I'll come here, I'll say now the height of my image will be, for example, 240 pixels, and the width will be auto. Okay, and before we used cover fit, so it will still do the work for me. I go back and you see here now it's 240 pixels, but the image for some reason is not fitting. So let's inspect it, and if we click this, it doesn't do anything. So the width should be, I think, 100%. There we go. Okay, and this is very good way. Sometimes you want to keep trying things, like if it works or not. Like say I want to increase the height, see how it will look. So you can do all these things in your inspector, and when you are okay with it and you feel it's matching your actual design, you can just go ahead and copy it that time. So you can see here the image, I can still see a little bit of the perfume, but now I realized actually we had two images, one for mobile and one for desktop. I think what I will do, I'll show you a way how you can do that. So let's have this image here, but for here we will import the mobile one. Okay, and I will add some other classes. That's maybe another class here to know which one to show when. So here I'll say desktop, and here we'll say class mobile. Okay, and the mobile one, I should hide it in the bigger version in the window, in the desktop version. So I'll come here, I'll say for example dot card image space image with a class of mobile. I should hide it here. Okay, display none, otherwise it will show up in my bigger version. If I remove this, you'll see two images, right? I don't want that, so I want to hide the mobile one. Okay, so now my desktop is working. If I go back to mobile, now I will do the opposite. I'll come here, I'll say dot card image space image dot desktop display none, but for the other one I want to display it dot mobile display block. So that's how you can switch between two things. You use display none and display block to hide. Okay, and here the width will be 100%, so it can fit my screen. Okay, that's good. Now let's double check. Always double check that things are working. So my desktop still working, it's not broken. If I go back to mobile, that's also working as expected and it is not broken. Okay, now let's go to a few other things. So if we go here to the design, the text, lucky for us, it's still the same thing. I mean, even mobile, the font sizes are same, the font family is same, the line height is same, does not change. Okay, so everything's good. The only difference you'll see is like this spacing now, it's less in the corners between the text or the whole content to the corner of my card, they're less. So before it was 32, now it is 24. So I'll go to my card and I'll say the last child. So, or actually I have a class name here. So I'll go here, next section, and I'll say padding is 24 pixels, and I'll not save it, I'll keep it like that and then open this. So you see here the spaces. Now I click save and the space has reduced. Okay, now the other thing you'll see here is the button now is like full width. Okay, it's taken from the corner to this corner, this button, but our actual design, it doesn't do that in mobile, so we have to do that as well. But I will not target the exact button class itself, because that class can be used somewhere else. But I will say any that class name of the button inside the card content. Okay, I will say width, it will be 100%, so full width. See there, it's working. Now to inspect and make sure the desktop is not broken, just go back there, and that is still working as expected. Okay, that's good. Now one more thing again, because I was facing these issues when I started first time. I'm like, I add the media queries but still doesn't work. Make sure always you have this. Okay, if I comment this one, see, things are out of the lane. It will show me only the desktop version, even I'm on mobile. Okay, this will only show the desktop version, but if I do this, put it back, then it will pick up my new media queries. Okay, that's one thing. Another thing is when you're doing responsive, you don't only check the points. Okay, for example, here I said do this new design in screens less than 800. Okay, let's remove this and make it responsive. So I'll play around and see if this is working all the time. So see, this is working, and keep it looking at this number here. When it's 800, then it will switch. Okay, you see that? That's an 800, but I can see that this up to here, it's not broken in 800, so I can reduce it. If you put 600, how will that look like? So 600, let's go back here. So 600, still my card looks okay, so I'll keep it that way, and up to now still look good. And you see how the image is working and fitting in all sizes. It's not stretching or anything, and that's because of the property we used right here. Let's go back to it again. Here, object fit. Okay, so this makes sure your image is not stretching at all. So if you have dynamic blog or dynamic web application where you load, I don't know, list of products, of course you don't have any control on the image sizes, right? So this property will help you to make sure that products all the time working as expected. Look, close the project. Okay, open only the images and try to give it a go by yourself. Okay, as promised before, I'll show you a few tricks you can use to debug actual images instead of Figma file. So the first thing is that you need a ruler to be added to your Chrome. So this is one of the best ones. So Smart Ruler, Page Ruler. So you can add that, and can you use it to add ruler around, and then you can have, like here you see in the image, you can see how much the width of it, how much the height of that image. Okay, so this one is really helpful. The other extension you can do, so just make sure this add to Chrome, add extension. There we go, and that's my ruler in there. So I can go here and remove this from here, use this one. Okay, so to be always showing there. The other extension which is very helpful is the color picker. Okay, so that one will help you to pick up the color of an image. Okay, so that one's really good. Also make sure also you just install also a color one extension to your Chrome, and that will help you as well to pick up the color. So you can easily just open, you know, one of these images design. Let's go to designs, open any of these in your browser. Okay, and then you can use, for example, color picker, just pick up the colors of your buttons, of the font and so on, and use a ruler just to add ruler everywhere, and then you can measure with the ruler how much width it is. Okay, so that is a very good one, tricky one. It will not give you a pixel perfect, but for practicing purposes that will be really good for you to use, so it can help you to set the goals on what you're achieving for your exercise.